How's it, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subby, welcome. If you're original, this is a career video finally. Um, cool. So I didn't register for stats. The guys at work were like, maybe it's too soon or it's too close. Because it would have given me only 2 months because you saw they released the dates quite late. So it would have been 15th September, and I only got my results end of July or mid July, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the fact that I failed H13 twice sort of, they don't have as much confidence in me as, they did before. And I get it, you know what I mean? Although H13 is very different to A111, which is what I wanted to write, but it is what it is. It gave me more time to go out. So I just want to answer a comment before I dive into this video. So I've seen all the comments, by the way. It's just that some are meant to be answered and some, the people can just entertain themselves in the comments. So Katleho, Lara says, "Hey Tando, what would get more buck for my money between CFA and FRM in the quant industry? I'm still a student studying ecos, would like to pivot into the quant field." Okay, so if you're studying economics, I think I've mentioned on the channel that I only have one or two friends who are quants by profession, who did the ecos and finance route, and but she has an MSc in data science from UCT, so I think that definitely put her above the rest, because what they tend to look for, especially in grad programs, is they tend to look for people with a quant degree, so your maths, your stats, your actuarial, your physics engineers by the droves. One of my really good friends is an engineer, and she's not in the data science space, but she's in the robotics space. She does very important work, but I don't really understand it. But like, it's process automation, which is something that also a quant can go into. So that's why I'm also mentioning it here. But there's lots of engineers, and like the banks have a lot of quants, and the banks love hiring engineers. So just be mindful of that. So now, if you've got an ecos degree and you're trying to pivot, then if it's not possible for you to pivot within the degree, then after work, I would definitely say, depending on what quant you want to be, if you want to be a quant in investments, then CFA will put you, a touch above the rest. FRM is more practical. So FRM is something that I also want to get into, maybe after CFA, but it's more practical. There are only two levels, and you can write them at the same time. But I promise you, like, you don't have to worry about that at the moment, because these are both like professional qualifications for after you get the degree. And once you get to like third year, you've got a better understanding, hopefully if you've done VAC work, of what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So that informs the professional qualification, because usually when you join your first grad program, they'd advise you to do ABC while you're working. That's going to further you within that particular organization or within that field. So don't stress too much about that just yet, especially if you're like a first year or second year. I think once you get to third year, you get a better understanding of the differences between the two, and it's really just linked to the type of work that you're likely to go in, and that also stems from the type of thing that you end up doing, and that comes off of VAC work. I think I've had this conversation, but yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Gatlacho. I'm just gonna heart it here. I hope you've listened here. Also wanted to show you guys that I registered for CFA. So it opened yesterday on the 12th. I registered today because I needed a bigger credit card than mine. And contrary to popular belief, black cards do have limits. Like, my card is black and it has a limit. So just be mindful of that, because I know they promised you, heaven and earth when you get a black card. So you basically get prerequisite reading. So I registered for May 2026 session. So that's the prerequisite readings. I haven't started. They've got prerequisite for quants, for ecos, and for fin statement analysis. And then they've also got the core curriculum for 2026. I'm just going to show you the high level. Let me just zoom in a bit. So this is the high level. Let me maybe move this. Yeah, move this here. Okay, so they've got quant methods, they've got economics, they've got financial statement analysis, they've got corporate issuers, equity valuation. I'm really looking forward to that. Fixed income, I'm really looking forward to that. Derivatives, I hope I kill it. And then alts, which are hedge funds. That's going to be exciting for me because I work in hedge funds. And then portfolio management as well as ethics, right? Ethics is usually a very big one. And then they've got the mock exams. And then there's a practical skills module on analyst skills as well as programming fundamentals and data science and AI. I'm not sure if I have to choose one or all of the three. Yeah, I'll see that when I get to the end. Again, I have to do that before I get my exam results like last time. And then there's of course the practice pack that's not available just yet. Basically that's my thing. That's my setup for CFA. So if you've got questions on CFA, ask away. So the questions that I have, or the chat that I want to get into, is actually just career. It's called school fees, so career mistakes that I want to touch on just very high level. If you have questions on this, please drop them in the chat. If you've got experiences with this, drop them in the chat. If you know a friend who did something like this or didn't do something like this, also drop it in the comments. So one isn't on the list, but I am going to mention it. It's mentorship, the importance of mentorship. I was fortunate enough that when I joined Prescient, I think especially when I got the permanent offer now in 2019, after being a grad for the first year in 2018, they paired me up with Grace Devela. So she was a bond portfolio manager at Prescient at the time, which is where I started working. And yeah, like, she had a very lasting impression on me. One of her mentors is actually my current mentor now, Ndobeko Stampo. He works at All Weather Capital. I had lunch with him or coffee with him like maybe 2 months ago, and I was very excited. I just finished TFA, and yeah, it was very exciting to touch base. He's been very helpful. He's given me a lot of things that I've kept in my back pocket, and he's still very accessible to me on WhatsApp, and he says he's eager to meet again, so I'm excited about that. He knows a few of the people I currently work with, and that's also exciting, just to get a feel of who's someone that I can rely on and who's someone that can help me, based on, I guess, their history and things like that. That's always useful, and the industry is very small, so that's something to be mindful of. Now, I myself have reached out to a couple of people to try and mentor, and it's always fallen flat. I think people tend to cancel, and if I offer myself, I've got nothing to lose. At the same time, I've got nothing to gain. So if I offer myself and I offer my time, and then that goes nowhere, then I'm not going to try and make an effort again. It actually just annoys me, because I think people that are young often don't fully grasp the importance of that, and by the time that they do, I'm no longer available, and I'm not a backtracker type of person. And it's not that I'm not forgiving. I don't think there's a need to forgive. There's always someone else that I can help if you didn't want my help at that point in time, and then that's that. So that's just something to be mindful of. If someone who's more senior than you does make an effort and does reach out to you, if you don't take the time and you see the opportunity for what it is, then it's your loss, and then yeah, you must take that L and move on. There is also someone who reached out to me on LinkedIn. We met up. Spent like 3 hours with him. We're just having coffee, just catching up, and it turned out that this was a creep. And then that sort of escalated. That whole situation escalated. Then he started following me on all of the social media platforms, and he just started being very snarks. So that's also not welcome, right? Let's not be weird. So now I'm not entertaining anyone in that sense. Like, if you reach out, I'm probably not going to respond, because if it's not on the video, then what are we doing? Because if you can't ask it in the comments so that everyone can benefit, what are we doing one-on-one? I don't know you, you don't know me. It's just for my safety. It's as simple as that at this point in time. So yeah, I thought I was doing something kind, but it turns out I'd met someone who wasn't stable, and yeah, that put me in danger. So we're not doing that again. Cool. So now I want to chat about references, right? So I've got a list. I'm going to chat about references. I'm going to chat about leaving. I'm going to talk about the exit interview. I'm going to talk about a counter offer. I'm going to talk about a new offer. And then I'm going to talk about the bonus sign-on. When you are in the market and you're using a reference, you don't use your current boss. I'm going to repeat it. When you're in the market for a new role and you're interviewing, you do not use your current boss as the reference. It doesn't matter if you guys get on like a house on fire. He's really happy for you. He knows you're looking. He shouldn't know you're looking, but he knows you're looking. And I'm using he because I work in financial services and it is a white male dominated field. So we're not doing the he she thing just, to be inclusive, or the they. I'm doing it because if you work in financial services and you follow my channel, then you know it's a white male dominated field. So let's keep it a buck. So you don't use your current boss as the reference. You use the boss before the boss. You use a current colleague that you trust. You use someone that is, like a colleague, and you use someone maybe that is between you and your boss. So not someone that you necessarily report to, but someone who's at this general level that is higher than you, or like at the same level as you in that same organization. If you can't think of someone who's from a previous organization, right? I think, yeah, it's simple. It's either your boss doesn't want you to go and will badmouth you at the new company, or he couldn't care less, but he will still badmouth you at the new company. Either way, it seldom goes very well. So just don't take that risk, right? And then in terms of leaving, if you've decided to leave, you have to leave. This feeds into the exit interview, the counter offer, the new offer, the bonus sign on. If you are leaving, if you've decided to leave, you have to leave. So if you get an offer elsewhere and then you take it to your current employer to match, you're communicating that I'm ready to get out the door, right? If they come in with a counter offer, and you've raised money before, or you've raised certain concerns around remuneration or whatever before, and they didn't do it before, and now they're doing it out of desperation, it's not going to be a healthy environment when you come back into the workplace. You're likely going to leave, but you're going to leave when you don't want to leave. You're going to leave now because it becomes uncomfortable, because they make it uncomfortable for you to stay. And you're going to be leaving at a later date without that offer that you turned down that was juicy. You might be leaving without an offer, or you might be leaving for something that isn't really what you want, but just because you have to leave. Well, be careful of that. In line with that, when you do leave, let's say you don't take the counter offer, you don't do funny things, you're just like, look, thank you for the counter, I really appreciate it, but I think it's time for me to move on. And then you get to the exit interview, don't say too much, because they don't really care. They don't really care. If the grievances that you had before and you're raising them at the exit interview, what are you doing? You're just being a tabani. You're fighting for the people. Say, just be high level about it. Say, look, I just don't enjoy that Quants and XYs are being lumped in all together. I feel like that skews the remuneration policy. I want to go somewhere where I can be a pure quant, or I want to be somewhere where I can be pure actuarial, and keep it at that. I wrote an email to this person about my remuneration on this date and this happened. Don't do that. Right? Two things. One, they don't care, like I said. Two, it keeps the door open. You never know when you have to, spin the block. And when it comes to companies, it's the only time you're allowed to spin the block, right? Otherwise, give other people a chance. Give other children a chance. But in terms of companies, you're allowed to do that. Because you come back to an environment that you know, and that you're good at. So even the lag for you to get on the roll and get on the ground running is shorter because you've been here before. It's the only time you're allowed to spin the block. So I've done leaving, I've done exit interview, counter offer. If you've been complaining about money before, then don't do it. But if you've been unhappy about other things, or if you were headhunted and you weren't ready to leave, then you might do the counter offer. But please be aware that it might sour things at your current company. It doesn't matter how well you think you and your boss get along. It might be that your boss's boss is now looking at your boss like he doesn't have his team in order. He doesn't have his house in order if employees can just threaten us like this. Mid-year, mid-cycle. They talk about cycles when it comes to remuneration. Mid-cycle, you can come in with a shocker like this. Yeah, you know what I mean? So there are other things that are outside of your purview. Just because you and your colleague drink coffee and your boss drink coffee and kiki doesn't mean it's the same with him and his boss. So just be mindful of that counter offer, right? And then when you get a new offer, so now you've left, you've done the very short, very sweet, exit interview. You didn't take the counter, right? You've got the new offer, you're leaving your bonus behind, you have to negotiate for a bonus sign-on. I didn't add it here, but you also have to negotiate for relocation costs, right? We are people of the streets, right? 1 minute I'm in Jozi, another minute I'm in Cape Town, another minute I'm back in Jozi, another minute I'm back in Cape Town. I'd love to live in Durban. Have you seen the weather in Durban, right? If I move to Cape Town, from Cape Town to Durban, I have to get relocation, right? My desk, my bed, my TV, my 55-inch LG TV has to be relocated to my new place. You have to negotiate all of that. When do you negotiate? You don't negotiate after signing. I can tell you that for free. You do not negotiate after signing. When you get that initial offer, thank you so much. Can I take a day or two to look through it? It doesn't matter if it's exactly the number that you wanted. It's got everything you want. Thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it. Can I take a day or two to look through this? That's a script. Write it down and then read it when you get an offer, right? After that 1 day or two, you look through it. You look at the leave policy. How does it compare to, your current policy? Number one. Study leave, especially because most of us here are working and studying simultaneously because we like things. How does that compare to either what was discussed or your current place of employment? If there is no information about it, you follow up in the email. Thank you so much for the offer this afternoon. Really enjoyed speaking to you. Can I please get a copy of the leave policy before getting back to you officially with the signed offer on Monday? That's what you say in the email, right? Because there's no way they're going to be incentivized to send you something after you've signed. Even if they do send it, what are you going to do? You've got no leverage. We've spoken about leverage in the property videos. I know you know what it means. You can't tilt anything. You've got no power because you've already signed. They've got the signature. It's done. Okay, so on that new offer, negotiate ahead of time. Negotiate start date. Negotiate like leave policy. Negotiate study leave. Negotiate a sign-on bonus. Sign-on bonus is usually a portioned amount of the bonus that you're leaving behind, right? Let's say you've got 100,000 that you know is coming now in August. I'm talking to you F&B guys. I'm talking to my boys who are getting money now on the 20th. Nitul, you're there. I see you. Say hi in the comments so we know you're getting paid, right? You've got a bonus coming on the 20th of August. You get an offer end of June to start July. Offer letters are usually not out yet. What do? You approximate maybe your last year's bonus. You throw a figure. You add maybe 20%. You throw a figure, say, hey, last year I got 100,000. This year I'm expecting 120,000. My performance was this and that. You don't need to give them anything, right? That's between you and your current employer. This year I'm expecting 120,000. I think it would be, in line with market expectations if I were to get this as a signing bonus, seeing that if I quit now, if I send my resignation now and I begin the 1st July, then this is the money that I would be foregoing. You say that in English on an email. If you say it on a call, you follow it up with an email so that they agree to it. If the offer letter doesn't specify that, then when you send the offer letter, right, you write an email, they respond to that email, and then the response is what you attach the signed offer letter that doesn't have that writing in it, so that everything lines up, everything is together. You understand? I always say to people, you haven't gotten a job until they ask for your banking details. Now, when I started in my current place, I think I was there for a week or two before they asked for my banking details. I was like, these people, am I getting paid or what? But luckily it's a small place, so payroll is quite simple, the process. But yeah, I think those are all the things I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the importance of mentorship. I also wanted to talk about the dangers of reaching out or having people reach out and they're not here for the same things that we're here for. We're here to learn. We're here to grow from each other. We're here to, be some sort of mentors for each other. Because there are very few of us, Black, female, especially in the industry. So it's important that we build an ecosystem whereby we feed off of each other. Like, I know a bit about something, you know a bit about something. So if you're in the comments saying something that I don't know or correcting me, that's helpful to me and it's helpful for other people that are in the comments. Do you understand what I mean? So now if someone comes in the space and they try and meet with me in real life and they do funny things, then yeah, when that kind of throws it off, it's a safety concern. You know what South Africa's like as well. So let's just be mindful of that, please. I'm not looking for partners in the comments. I'm not looking for partners on LinkedIn. I'm like, thanks guys. I know where to look when I want someone. So let's not do that, please. It's very dangerous. But it is also important for you to get genuine mentors, and it's usually wise to find people that you're already gonna bump into in real life. So if you meet me at an event, you can definitely chat me up and then I'll chat to you. Do you understand what I mean? But if we've never met and you just know me on LinkedIn or you just know me on YouTube, then how am I going to mentor you? Just be mindful of that. We've spoken about the reference thing. Don't use your current boss. I know he's your bestie, but don't use him on your reference. It's going to test your friendship. Exit interview, say less. Whatever you're thinking of saying, say less. Counter offer, don't do it. Don't do it. New offer. Thank you so much for the offer. Can I please get back to you in a day or two? I just want to have a look. I want to look through it quickly. Is Monday a good time to get back to you? Yeah. Tuesday latest. Yeah, and they're expecting it. You're not playing hard to get. I wins my tie. They're expecting you to not say once you get the offer, sign on the dot, right? So you're not playing games. There's nothing funny about that. That's what is expected of a good quality candidate that isn't desperate. And then the bonus, the sign-on bonus, and then the relocation fee. You gotta ask for that, and you gotta ask for it on email. There has to be a paper trade, so that if you're moving end of January, beginning of January, you should be sending those people invoices. You mustn't be here struggling. You're looking for accommodation. You're looking for moving trucks. You don't know where the money's gonna come from. It needs to be an email, and those guys need to know that you're expecting ABCD. Either you're sending invoices or they say sending you the money, and you're paying the suppliers directly. I'm gonna cut the video here, nice and short. Tomorrow's video might be a bit late. I've got an engagement. That's gonna be a property video. So I hope the people who are here for careers are happy. I've finally done one. I know it's been long outstanding. I've registered for CFA. I've told you about school fees or career mistakes that some of us made, and then you guys don't have to make it as well. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna keep it nice and short.